chopper noise, chopper noise, chopper noise, chopper noise, chopper noise. Vince, jump! I'll catch you! Oh, I missed! And that was our attempt at an action intro. Vince is fine. You guys just experienced an action scene. Well, his leg got dinged a little, but welcome to Nerdy Neighbors. It's an action-packed podcast hosted by me, Zach.
And me, Vince.
We have a spoiler warning.
Blanket spoiler warning.
Especially for this episode.
Yep.
Well, I guess not especially. It's not hot off the...
It's over a year old.
Yeah.
We discuss nerd culture as it pertains to us and what we find interesting.
Which might be interesting to you.
Yeah.
You might be like us.
Hopefully, if you've made it this far in.
Are you us re-listening to this and maybe editing it? Hi, us.
That's getting cut.
So we start every week out with news.
Sure. Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because my 2 bits of news are sort of boring. So Black Panther won the SAG Awards yesterday.
Yeah.
I crushed it. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a legit Marvel movie that's up its own butt with Marvel myth.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first comic book movie. Well, maybe Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's the first comic book movie as a part of a greater comic book universe.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by up its out with its own myth. Because, I mean, we have differing opinions on the Dark Knight trilogy. I only seen 2 of them and only like one of them. Sort of. And
he's
not
big
as a
Dark
Batman.
Knight Rises fan.
No. Never saw it. But, that's what I mean by up its ass was its own myth. Like, it's really a true blue Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And it deserves it. 100%.
Do you think it deserved it over Infinity War?
Yes.
Really?
I think the story of Infinity War is so dependent on seeing the other movies, and you don't have to have seen anything to enjoy Black Panther. I think it stands alone on its own 2 legs much better. If you thawed from ice from 10 years ago, and I showed you, you're a bad example.
Yeah.
If, like, Joe Blow thawed from ice from 10 years ago, and I showed him Black Panther, and he'd never seen or even heard of it. Yeah, he would get it.
It's a very approachable
story.
And
he would probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if I showed him Infinity War, I think he would be like, well, that was fun, but, like, there was a talking raccoon, and, like, who was the green guy?
Yeah.
And, like, it's like...
No, I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah. I love Infinity War, but it is so dependent on, it's part of the tapestry.
Yes, it is definitely the whole cloth.
Whereas Black Panther is just a kick-ass tap in the tapestry.
Yeah.
What do you call part of a tapestry?
I'm pretty sure just a cloth.
Oh, okay.
Tapestry.
Learn something new every day.
Cloth.
So but that's really dope. And I mean, it was a critical darling because of some, it was a critical darling for maybe in some people's opinions, not the best reasons. I don't particularly agree. It was a dope-ass movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
the whole social aspect of it, or the society aspect of it, I think, while it was a major factor, I don't think that's what made the movie great. The movie was great on its own merit.
Yeah, and I think those factors being in the movie, like, just deal with it. Like, that's part of life, and that's like, oh boy, that sounded really hacky. Cut that. But, like, the story aspects of the movie that are about, like, especially, like, early 90s culture in California, like, and like, how America treats Black culture, and how that could produce someone like Kilgrave and all that kind of stuff, and also, like...
Killmonger.
Pardon me. And not beating us over the head with that. It's just... It happened.
Yeah, it was super organic. And it felt like it could happen.
And it was...
I'm also very glad that we're starting to get into non-Oscar bait movies winning these big awards.
Yeah.
Because, like, I get it. Roma's a classic, and it tells subtle nuances when it comes to story, and everything happens, and it's wonderful, and it's a pretty movie. But, like, who is that for besides the people who judge these competitions?
Oh, that's the problem with the Oscars. Everyone says that.
Right.
I mean, the Oscars aren't for us anymore.
No.
And it probably hasn't been for a while. That sound interruption while Vince was talking was brought to you by the Podcast Professionality Board.
Yes.
Podcast
They're texting us to let us know that we're doing such a great job being professional.
But so, like... I'm saying a bunch of hacky things that everyone said about Black Panther, but it truly was, like, such a good movie. And I love the, do you know what they called, Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis on set.
No.
The Tolkien white guys.
That's adorable. That's amazing and wonderful. Honestly, Claw was like, obviously I have, if you've listened to any episode of the podcast thus far, you know that I kind of have a thing for Michael B. Jordan. But I think Claw was second in what I liked most about that. He's
such a kinetic actor. I love him in anything.
He has so much charisma about him. Yeah,
but he's so he's also, if you ever saw the atrocity, the 3-hour atrocity Peter Jackson movie, King Kong.
Oh yeah,
he's not only Kong and stuff, but he's also the chef in the first part of the movie, and he's like, because he's just gotten back from like pretending to be a gorilla, so he's Diesel.
He's larger.
And the way he's playing that character, like he's like he moves his arms around a bunch as the chef, and like he cocks his head real quick. Like his physicality is wonderful. Gotcha. So yeah, hooray for Black Panther.
Yes, hooray for Black Panther. So The Boys and Umbrella Academy, both comic book series, are being turned into TV shows. I'm actually a pretty big fan of The Boys. That might be one of the first like graphic novel series I read front to back. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see where that goes. It's going to be on Amazon Prime, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Umbrella Academy, which is written by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
That's also a fantastic comic book series that I haven't finished yet, but I'm excited to see it make its way.
I don't know anything about it other than I see the swag for it at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy.
It's basically, I think there's something like 48 children are born to women who weren't pregnant before they gave birth. And like some wacky eccentric billionaire goes and like adopts all of the kids, and then he forms a superhero team with them, and the main focus of the series focuses after his death is what it looks like for the TV show.
Cool. No, I saw that for the TV show. I was like curious about it because I don't know anything about it other than I'm very familiar with the logo.
Yeah. In addition to that, we've got Black Widow movie.
There's news about that?
Yep. Directed by Kate Shortland, and rumor is R-rating.
Cool.
Very cool. Very high potential there. I would very much like to see...
That would shock me if that comes to fruition, if Marvel makes an R-rated movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's definitely foreseeable. If you look at the success that Deadpool and Logan had. Like, if you're able to tell a story using these aspects, I mean... Sure. I'm down for... I mean, a Black Widow movie should be, like, sexy as hell.
Yeah, so hopefully.
Exactly.
That was one thing that I... Damn it. Never mind. It's something... I'm going to say it, actually. It's something I thought was missing from Solo. Was, like, I wanted him to be a little bit more, like...
Oh, like a...
Swashbuckling.
Yeah, like a rakish rogue.
Yeah.
I get you.
But I don't know why, because he's not like that in the movies.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why I attached that to him.
You get that persona from him, just the way he carries himself. Yeah, you definitely do. That's a little bit of a spoiler for later on in the episode. Why don't you hit your other piece of news?
The Birds of Prey teaser dropped today. It's like a 30-second teaser.
Who feels foolish now, Zach? This movie's never getting made. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Did I say that about Birds of Prey?
You did.
Well, I was wrong about that. I stand by almost all the rest of them.
So the news being that Margot Robbie, I think, posted on Instagram a picture of Harley Quinn from the Birds of Prey.
There's like a 30-second
video.
Yeah,
little clip.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor's there.
Mm-hmm.
Not wearing a mask, but wearing black.
Yeah, that's fine. You gotta start somewhere.
And some other chickadees.
Yeah.
And they're drinking liquor. And they ain't wearing pants.
That movie's gonna
Everyone's got tiny shorts and skirts on.
That movie's gonna be dope.
I don't know.
It's gonna be great.
I still feel all those things look like, I've said this before, look Axe commercials to me. Like it's all style and no substance.
At least it ain't Carl's Jr.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna hit on something not comic book related, and then we'll transition into something comic book related that made me real mad.
Okay.
So my non-comic book related thing is the Royal Rumble happened this past Sunday. Yeah, exactly. And the crowd goes wild. We have 2 winners. Winner of the Women's Royal Rumble is Becky Lynch, who's a hardworking
Ding, ding.
lass kicker. And then the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble was Seth Rollins, who's one of the hardest workers in the biz. Now, I know this doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but man, oh man, I love the Royal Rumble. It's my favorite wrestling thing to watch.
How long is it? It's probably a weird.
It's very long.
Oh, really?
It's very long. Yeah,
longer, like 3 hours.
Longer than 3 hours. Probably closer to 5. Yeah.
So it's like a day-long event?
Yeah, it went from 7 o'clock to midnight, I believe.
Does it get good ratings?
Yeah, it gets decent ratings, especially the Royal Rumble, because
probably don't post
it's a once-a-year type of match. So, but I had a lot of fun watching that. And then on to the thing that's going to make me mad. Bill Maher on his show. He hosts a show on HBO. It's a newsy talk show thing.
You say that weird.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the pronunciation.
I hate that fucking guy. Yeah. Continue. New rules, man.
So, in his desperate attempt to stay relevant, he decides to be a contrarian and yell at people online for liking comic books. He said, I think the quote goes, I'm not sad... Or no, I'm not... He says something about Stan Lee's death, and that he's sad about Stan Lee's death, but he's sad that comic book fans are alive.
Right.
Yeah. So, like...
Well, yeah, but that guy's the worst.
Yeah, just don't be a douche.
He's
like, come on, man. Is it your problem?
Yeah,
like,
he's a hacky, tone-deaf comedian who still gets... People, like, right-wing people can watch that show and think this is what the enemy is like. When really, I'm not sure how many left-wing people are on his side. And I'm not sure where he leans anymore.
Right.
And
you don't need to know that.
You might want to cut all this, but I have a lot to say about...
Well, let's not focus too heavy.
Well, he truly is, like, not just a monster. Like, he's like, against... religion. He's against marriage.
Yep.
He's gonna die a lonely, faithless man who is sure that he's right about everything he said.
Exactly.
So
let
that give you solace.
Yeah. If that's how he feels, fine. I just don't feel like you don't need to attack people over the stuff that they like. That's just showing the world what a small, insecure man you are.
Yeah. Comedy's weird.
Yeah.
I think he thinks his comic books as the big guy now, and you're like the jester's supposed to take down the king,
right?
And like we're those of us who still like it, we're still not the big guy,
right?
And also like, shut the fuck up, you weird model fucking irrelevant, not funny for the last 20 years douchebag who fired Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah,
for no good reason.
Well,
new rules.
Yeah. Let's transition then.
I wouldn't watch him with friends or by myself. I wouldn't watch him solo. Now, what I would watch
is Solo. Wow, that transition.
I've been working on him, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Put my hands behind my back.
So,
for the rest of the show.
This week, we are going to be shouting at Solo.
It's true.
So, Zach and I, we both watched the movie again.
And I will say to you listeners, like I said to Vince, no tricks this week. I watched Solo. I'm not going to do some kind of pull the rug out from under you type of trick. We're going to really talk about this movie. Now, as per usual, dear listeners, if you've been listening, you know Vince and I never really prepare as far as structure.
Yeah,
we work that out together. We let you guys see how the sausage is made. And in the spirit of that, how do you want to do this? I have notes that kind of go... Now, I've been told by a listener that when I go through my notes as methodically as I do, it's not fun to listen to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can kind of feel like...
I think I am more guilty of this than you, my friend.
Well,
is what the listener told me. So how do you want to do this? Do you want to do it like a... well, there's definitely things in my notes, so I'm going to go, let's talk about this. But do you want to go, like, big thoughts and then try to take it apart?
Yeah, definitely.
So, overall, I love this movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I know that it's cashing in on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. I knew that going in and buying my ticket.
Right.
I think it got a lot of criticism for that.
Yeah.
I got a lot of criticism for performances that I thought were great given very like shitty circumstances. There's a lot riding on this. No one's playing, with a couple of exceptions, no one's playing not a small part. It's a small ensemble.
Right.
So everyone has a lot to do.
Yes, there's a lot that happens in this movie.
So I have very little complaints about performance. I think everyone does a great job. I think especially, I mean, and not to cheat, but at one point in my notes I wrote Donald fucking Glover in all caps.
I think I also have a very similar... I wrote Donald Mother Hecking Glover. All right. So you like
I
this
do.
movie.
I do.
Unabashedly.
With
like
some,
this movie.
well, okay. Final thoughts.
Right.
There are some. I don't know where this movie lands. I don't know how this movie feels about morals.
Right.
I don't know how this movie feels about what is good and what is evil. That's a definite problem in this movie.
Yeah, especially with a character like Han Solo who's supposed to like tiptoe on that knife's edge.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Right.
And so there's a morality issue. I wonder, my friend, how much you're going to want to talk about droid politics. Do you at all want to?
I'm
Do you at all
assuming that
think
you're
about
referring
it?
to L3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Not sexual politics.
Right.
I mean, like the enslavement of
Right.
these sentient
well, here,
beings.
let me give my overall.
Well, okay, so that's my
opinion of the
second
movie.
picadillo, and
Okay.
then my third one, and I'm done after
Sure.
this, I promise.
Mhm.
Because I said a bunch of good things, and these are my 3 bad things.
Right.
My third one is kind of attached to the morality thing, but way more specific, is the character of Beckett. I feel like they kind of screwed the pooch writing-wise. I wonder what hit the cutting room floor and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But I feel like it was like it's like a really impressive gun, and when you pull the trigger, a little bang flag comes out.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
So your overalls on
So
Solo.
my overalls, I do not like this movie. I see the good in it. Like I appreciate parts of it, but if I had the option to watch this or anything else, I would probably watch anything else. I feel as though this movie has a very poor Act 1. It has a very boring Act 2.
What?
And then a very good Act 3.
Okay.
Now who's getting pushed out of the helicopter?
Well, no, you were jumping down to me.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So, whoa. Where do we start? So your Act 1. What would you say is the end of Act 1?
I would say that the beginning of the heist, or no, I would say the end of the heist is probably the end of Act 1. End of the train heist is the end of Act 1, and then
So then the beginning of Act 2 would be getting on the yacht.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Fine. All right. I just want to know what parameters we're working with. I don't know. I disagree. We're introduced to our characters. That dice retcon is very, very irritating.
So I have written down what's up with the dice, because the point of an origin story is to give us this information. We all know it's a blatant cash grab. That's not our problem with it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do an origin story, I want to know everything. Like, it's your job to tell everything in a way that I find acceptable.
Right.
So I want to know everything. Where are the dice from?
Well,
A simple line. They were my dad's. Blah, blah, blah. Because in the extended universe for Star Wars, before it got all legendized, those were the dice that he used in Sabacc to win the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
But now, Sabacc is a
See,
card
I didn't
game.
even know that. I keep wondering the significance of this dice and how they show up in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And just like
we're supposed to have this attachment to these dice, but we don't know anything about them. We just know what we.
So
just
all
know
right,
what
so
we know
fine.
about
The
Han.
dice, I agree with you there.
Mhm.
I agree with you on the dice. But so we meet this. This guy in the shadows. He gets in this. Let's just call it a car.
Speeder.
It's a speeder, but it's like I appreciate the kind of homage to what George Lucas was kind of super digging when he came up with these characters and this world, just like drag racing and fast cars and stuff like that. This guy gets in the car and throws his dice, and the first line he says once he gets back to home, of course, this gorgeous girl that he kisses, again establishing some stuff that I think works for that character. She says, look at your face, and his first line is, "This is nothing. You should see them," which I think is a perfect Han Solo.
Yeah, I agree.
Line.
That's a very Han Solo line.
So, Proxima, Lady Proxima.
I actually really liked Lady Proxima.
I wrote Lady Proxima equal to Jabba. It's like almost the exact same kind of structure of a scene.
Yeah, I mean, like, as a character design, I should say.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
the animatronics in that looked wonderful.
It, like, kind of Dark Crystal-y.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. It looked dope as hell.
Corellia was very dark.
Yeah.
And very dirty.
Yeah. And not how it is in...
not how it is in Rogue One. Like,
well, it's also very much not how it was pre-Disney taking over. Corellia's like, it's a shipyard planet, but before Disney taking over and before we're getting rid of all it was like, it's kind of like, it was this gorgeous place, and like, I mean, it was a shipyard, but it was like a Chicago.
Right.
Like, there's crappy parts for sure, but there's these wonderful, amazing parts, and it like, this really made the whole planet seem like a ghetto, and especially later on, Paul Bettany has a line
about it.
Yeah. Which was fine. I try not to get hung up on those things. Another little weird tidbit about Corellia that I don't think will ever come up in the Disney movies is that it is famous for producing like very handsome, charismatic men.
Right. Yeah.
Like like that '80s thing of like hot blonde chicks come from Sweden.
Exactly.
Dashing, handsome men come from Corellia. Speed Chase. I wrote, Neat homage to Lucas's drag racing.
I wrote that's what I call pod racing.
You don't like the Speed Chase?
No, I do. I very much liked it.
And then the following kind of
I'm a prequel defender. We've already talked about it.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm not talking about pod racing.
I'm just saying if I reference something from the prequels, you can assume that it's probably
okay. Not me. I have to always go. So you thought that was cool?
Yes. Yes, I very much like it.
And then the following kind of. Not just mix up, but like you don't feel any kind of pressure during that moment when they're in that whatever that ticket processing area is.
Yeah, no, because it's the beginning of the movie,
and because they were just talking about how much like all their dreams together, they're going to get separated.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so there's just no tension for you there, so it's a boring scene.
Right. There was no real inciting incident. Like, she gets kidnapped or whatever. They get separated. He can't go back for her. But that's not, enough for me. And it also doesn't, when Han is introduced, he's introduced as a smuggler. But he's not a smuggler yet. He's just a thief.
I never thought of this as and maybe I was wrong too, because maybe we were explicitly told that a couple of times, but I never came into this thinking of it as a origin story per se. And also origin story to me can mean a lot of things. It's a very broad term. Like, to me, I thought of this very much like a one-shot, like an annual. Like, and especially with Solo, I didn't have any questions, so I don't need it to answer any.
You want to know what the dice are? Check out issue 3.
The dice I found irritating because I knew nothing about them until Last Jedi, and now I'm seeing them in this bloody movie.
Right.
I didn't know about the Sabacc backstory with them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now.
It doesn't. No, that's true. And so, Solo gets named Han Solo. What do you think about that? You not like it?
So, there are two ways to do it. The way that I would have done it, if I were writing this movie, is you treat Solo the same way that the last name Snow is treated in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just given to anybody who doesn't have a last name who wants to leave the planet.
Okay.
The reason that it doesn't work is because you see the guy at the computer sort of chuckle to himself as he comes up with this idea for Han Solo.
Okay.
By yourself, you're Solo.
How
much different would that have been if Han's last name was Lonely?
No, it's rad.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my thing. This was a perfect opportunity to do a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "No people, eh? How about Han alone?" And Han's like, And I don't know.
That would have been way too funny.
You cast an Imperial guy that we'd know.
So who were the two? Who were the two writers that were or the two directors that were working on this? Before?
It was
Miller and
Phil Miller and Chris
Lord. Yeah.
Miller and Lord.
If they directed this movie, that scene would have 100% been in there.
Yeah. There was I don't know. I think there's some charming let the camera roll moments. I think The reason there aren't more of them is, and I'm not complaining about his performance, but like that Ansel, or his name's not Ansel, excuse me.
Enright.
Alden, excuse me, yeah. Alden Enright. I think he's young and he's aware that he's playing Han Solo.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was taking risks and feeling really loose on set. But I felt those moments from time to time.
There were a few moments
Just
that
like
I
the
felt,
camera roll
okay,
moments where he's
Han.
like...
Yeah, that's Han.
Well,
he's getting into his Han.
Let's take a quick skirt.
Yes.
And because I would argue,
okay,
and I've said this for many years, that Harrison Ford's performance in all three of those movies is not
good.
That great.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's definitely not.
So the character of Han...
That's what brings about the charm of it. He's this straight man in this ridiculous...
I don't know. I think in a vacuum, I can look at that and go, oh, that worked for me because I was a kid. And if I watched this now, I would go, oh.
Yeah, trying a bit hard.
Yeah, or not trying at all.
Yeah.
Especially in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Where the man couldn't have been more vocal that he didn't want to be there.
Did you feel a lot of chemistry between Han and Kira?
I think that it is... Yes. Yeah, I was fine with that.
I did not feel the chemistry there.
I didn't miss it, I should say. It wasn't popping out at me, but I wrote Emilia Clarke. At one point I wrote Emilia Clarke is stunning. Old school Hollywood gorgeous. Like she is when she first shows up as Kira in the yacht.
Yeah.
And her hair and the way the light is hitting her, it is like some old school Hollywood crap. It's amazing. So I might be just too charmed by that woman to notice anything wrong happening. And it's seriously,
she exudes enough chemistry.
And it's truly just charmed. It's not like I want that. It's just like my God.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I think that when I look at Ryan Gosling too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So. Okay, so after that we have Han, and he joins up with the Imperial Army, and he goes off to war. Which is
an homage to, or a kind of tip of the hat to the old school, EU.
Yeah.
Extended universe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Han gets his start in the Imperial Academy. Yeah. I do very much like the war scene that has the Imperial March playing in the background.
I was so distracted by that.
Oh, man. I loved it.
The Scott Aukerman brought this up on Comedy Bang Bang, but I've had the exact same thought. To me, that was like in the Andrew Garfield second Spider-Man, where his ringtone is the Spider-Man theme song. It's like, I don't know. That stuff like that breaks my brain. Like, don't do that.
Oh, love it. It's so good.
I like the cut of "We'll Have You Flying Yet," and then he goes flying through the air.
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene where he fails out of flight school.
Yeah, because he mentions that he got kicked out of the air.
Oh, there's a deleted scene where he doesn't follow the captain's orders because the captain is basically sacrificing all of them.
Right.
And he gets kicked out of flight school because he didn't die like he was ordered to do. Yeah. It's very Imperial.
Yep, very much so.
Yeah. I see why that got the cut in the floor, though.
Right.
It's a much better cut to go, "We'll Have You Flying Yet," and then...
Whoosh! I have Woody Harrelson is great.
Yes.
Like when the band is introduced, that entire sequence during the war was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the heist scene. I mean, all that kind of digital moving around that they have him do and the gun swirling is super satisfying.
Yeah, I loved it. Like that's what I wanted Han to be.
But okay,
like in the movie, I want him just.
Yeah, and now we get to part of my we can skip around. We have to meat and bones this. We'll talk about Chewbacca's introduction in a second. But now that you bring this up, there's also later on a scene by the fire, and Beckett is once again, all of our characters are kind of touching base. The band, as you called them,
right,
are introducing themselves to us, the audience, and Beckett does some swirly things with his guns, and Han says, "Teach me that." And there's never enough time in this movie for anything like that to happen. I would say at the most, the movie takes place over 4 days. Yeah. Once we hit where we're at now.
Correct, yeah.
You don't ever get the impression. I mean, the same kind of criticism could be made about the first Star Wars. That, how long does it take?
Yeah.
And, why are they so close or whatever. I'm not so much saying that, but I am saying, there should have been there should have been a cut to or some things we didn't see where Han was getting schooled by this guy.
Right.
So that he could be doing those gun swirlies.
Exactly.
But he didn't really do those in the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So did we really need that?
Because he grew out of it. Like,
but then, I don't know where I land on this.
Definitely
I don't know where I land on this. Because then on the other hand, it's like, well then why have this guy show up and be doing all that stuff? And have Han look so infatuated with it.
I mean,
if you're not going to teach him.
He's a hero. Like, you idolize heroes. I can't fly. I still like Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to go into the heist? So...
Well, I want to... Well, okay. So, Han tries to join the heist and the Beckett crew ditch him and...
so you want to talk about Chewie
introduce him as a... Well, I have two things I want to talk about.
Okay.
I love the... the line "feed him to the beast."
Yeah,
because it's like a beast.
Yeah, exactly.
That's and of course we all know.
Yeah, that's calling back to like, the Rancor.
Yeah. But of course we all know it's gonna be our buddy Chewbacca, and one of those stormtroopers is Steve Bloom.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed it the third time I watched it, and then I looked it up because it was driving me insane. I had to know if that was Stephen Bloom, and it bothers me. Mm-hmm. That man finds how. Oh, someone's talking into a mic. I'll be right there.
gotta
Don't answer that door. That's Stephen Bloom. Get out of here, Stephen!
He heard our microphone.
We're not recording. It's a podcast.
He's breaking down the door.
And then they fight. We finally see Han speak Wookiee. So now that's why he can understand it. Exactly. He can sort of speak it.
The gap has been bridged. You don't have to think too hard about it anymore.
And then daring escape and some fun buddy cop stuff where they're tied together and one guy runs right, the other guy runs left.
Exactly.
And
there are parts of it that are good. I just find that the overall act doesn't do what it's supposed to.
That's fine. I'm not here to make a case for it. I was wondering what you like what'd you say a minute ago? Like you're right. There is no moment of like I need to do this because of this or whatever. Yeah. We meet a guy who needs to get off the planet because life sucks there.
Well, he wants to get off the planet with his girl, and go see the galaxy together, and
No, I know, but you don't have to apologize for making a good point of like we are just sort of introduced to a guy who needs to go because him and his girl don't like that place. Right. Like how shitty it is. Yeah. We, the audience, see how shitty it is. It is not exactly not to keep. It doesn't have to be Star Wars, but it's not Luke looking at the two sons being like, I just need to get off this rock.
Yeah, no, it
and
has
like,
a weird...
we've established that Luke's life is fucking boring. Like it is like immediately he's on the run. But to me, that was what I kind of wanted. I think if we spent time, and I know you're not pitching this, but immediately where my mind goes when you say an origin story, I think if we spent time meeting his parents or Last Crusade kind of afternoon.
Okay.
Where, most of the things that identify this character happen in this afternoon.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have wanted... And I know you're not saying anything
character
like
building?
that.
Here it is.
Yeah. But I appreciated this story, and I was very forgiving of this story that was like, we're right in the thick of it. One question I had, which is a stupid thing to be asking yourself, but I wrote very early in my notes, how old is he when he escapes Corellia? Like, is that a 19-year-old kid? And then after a couple of years...
the timeline, has to line up.
And then after a couple of years in the Empire, he's, 21 when we see him again. Has Kira been, spoiler... Has Kira been, kind of shipped around for 2 years or so as, a professional kind of madam on that crime yacht?
Is that what you got from that?
Not madam, like in the whoring madam way. Like madam in the, madam handler way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely what I got.
He's the boss daddy and she's the madam. And I think she's there to... I think what she facilitates is being heartless and cold, but also not just smart, but not letting opportunities get away. While maintaining their strong arm.
Right, yeah. Because Dryden Voss definitely has that,
kill him. And
he's got that temper, and then I can see how she's a perfect foil.
Yeah, and I can see how that could sometimes hurt business, and you'd want someone there who's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Heist.
They say, is it Enfys Nest? That's They say that name 3 times in the span of 10 seconds.
Yes.
That was one thing that happens very early on in that heist That, like, I was just like, why are you...
Well, because it's a weird name.
Yeah, but even then, like, you say it once, that way you're not playing the pronoun game, you don't have to worry about CinemaSins dinging you. But then you just get into it. You just talk about her as if you've already said her name before.
All right. This is, again, probably a place where I'm too forgiving, but I could see, like, having that name there once and having people go, no one knows what they just said.
But they do. Like, the thing is, it's Woody Harrelson, and he's saying it to the band and to Han. But the band already knows who Infus Nest is, and then Han doesn't need that.
I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying that smells like studio note to me.
Yeah.
That smells like, you guys, you're saying this weird word that no one's heard before.
Yeah, and also, she's definitely, spoiler alert, Infus Nest is a she. She definitely has a let's make a bunch of toys look about her.
Toyetic, as they say on Freakazoid.
So. Yes. Other than that, I very much like the heist.
Yeah. Beckett moves around way cooler than he should for an old man. Val has, I think, the coolest outfit next to Solo's outfits in the entire movie. Her hair is dope. Her goggles are fucking rad.
Thandie Newton, in general, fantastic.
But the man, she's, But, like, they also, she is, of course. Westworld. Check it out. But you haven't watched Westworld, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I really appreciated the wardrobe choices. That was one of my notes. Val has coolest hair / outfit.
How'd you feel about Rio Durant, the little alien pilot guy?
Little exposition guy?
Yeah. Like, he was definitely just, like, hey, we have to make one character that everybody likes, so when we kill him off, people will be upset.
Yeah.
But, like, do you have to? How did he get aboard that crew?
I don't know.
Well, I know, but, like, that's a question I would like answered. Like, everybody else has
I don't disagree with you.
Like,
this is part of, I don't disagree with you. That didn't stand out to me, but there's no part of me that doesn't go, yeah.
Yeah, because,
good point.
Beckett says, like, when he's talking to Han, don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
So how does he have that whole deal? Val only trusts Beckett. But how do they get Rio, who's just like, yeah, man, family's dope. Well, respect your parents.
I don't know if he's like that. He in fact, also his last words to Han is, you shouldn't die alone, kid. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's something along those lines.
Like,
I don't know if there's anything in the text that is making him as cool as you're making him out to be. He was very cool.
Yeah.
And laid back, but we don't necessarily know that he's not, like, he didn't do anything. I mean, that's the problem. Mm-hmm. You're right. He didn't do. Why is he there? How is he there?
Right.
Like, I agree with that. I just, like,
I guess it's just weird, like...
It's easy for me to go, I guess
Favreau
he's rad because
happy, and then seeing Jon Favreau voice Rio, it's like, I know that you can do it.
Well, I immediately go, and this is, like, not good movie making. This is me helping them. I immediately go, oh, he must be a badass because he's with them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him do anything badass. No, I'm not saying that's a good thing that people should do.
Right.
I'm saying that's what I did.
Okay.
After the heist goes bad. Oh, I want to point out that Beckett calls, after his lady, dies, fighting Viper droids. Viper droid cameo.
Very much so.
There's the thing you'll see. Oh, damn it. No, I'm not going to go back for it. After everyone dies, they have the coaxium, and it's attached to a ship, and the kind of biker gang marauders also have a coaxium attached. And Beckett is saying, "Don't let go of the line. Don't let go of the line." They're flying to a mountain,
right?
And Beckett seems like he's like, they'll give up.
Yeah.
Seems very willing to die in this moment. The movie seems to be telling us that, right?
Yeah, it's like after Val...
I want to establish that for a little thing that happens down the line.
After Val passed, it definitely seemed like he got a death wish, kind of, because he was very keen on the dangerous suicide plan.
Yeah. See, that's cool. I wish I had thought of it that way. And maybe that makes it more forgiving for what happens down the line. I'm glad you said that. Okay.
So, quick question. How many bad guys are in this movie?
Well, I don't know. That's the problem with the morality in this movie. Who is a bad guy, really?
Right.
Because everyone's stealing stuff.
Just based off of your perception, how many bad guys we got?
I would say one bad guy.
And that is?
And that's Paul Bettany.
Okay, all right.
I'd say one bad guy.
Okay.
Because then everything else is just like a hurdle. Everything else is just an obstacle. And not really putting its will against us, against the protagonist. Doesn't have ill will towards the protagonist, especially if you think of it as Solo's movie.
Right.
If it's Beckett's movie, there's a couple of bad guys.
It felt like they wanted Dryden Voss to be the be-all, end-all bad guy. But bit of movie making behind the scenes, you have to introduce him before Act 2.
Right.
Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't know.
Okay.
And the other, so my count is we got Lady Proxima. From there, we have the Empire as a whole, just being mean in general to Han. Not necessarily a bad guy per se, but just an antagonistic force. After that, you've got Enfys Nest. After that, you've got Dryden Voss. And then you have the Crimson Dawn in general as an antagonistic force.
I can't believe I'm about to try to make a case for this not having to follow the rules for film, but I would make a case for if you're gonna do these, and I mean I know they're gonna hit the brakes on it because of the way this. Anyways, It at the time the business model was we're going to do these movies, we're gonna do 2 a year, we're gonna just churn these out, and so if that's the case, I don't mind that it is like this kind of this story from this universe that you know about, and here's some snippets, and I mean that's that's a bad rationalization for kind of sloppy movie making from Ron Howard,
right? Exactly, yeah.
But it is kind of maybe the parameters he was working with. That's the other thing that I always think about with movies like this, and maybe I shouldn't, but there are other voices in the room going, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, and it makes it harder to be a director who gives his vision.
Right.
You might be a director who's good with working with the company.
Yeah.
And that gets us down a whole other line. But I genuinely think if you think of this movie, looking at it as just an annual, as a snippet out of Solo's life, it makes sense that there's not really a main villain. If there is a main villain, it's Solo's bad, consistent decision making, with the exception of making friends with Chewbacca.
Yeah.
He likes the wrong gal. He takes the wrong jobs. But, you're right. You should introduce your villain before Act 2. But I don't know how much it matters also in the way this kind of... The 3 heists have nothing to do with each other other than they're for the same guy, essentially. Yeah. Or 2 heists, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
The second heist kind of happens in 2 parts. But I forget where I was going with that. But even the heists aren't that connected, other than
it's these people doing it.
Yeah. So you can look at that as an overall cohesion problem with the movie, or you could look at it as a lifestyle movie. This was the beginning of his criminal career, and it went like this. It's constant backstabbing. It's constant plans going wrong, and you can't trust anybody,
right?
Except for your fuzzy friend.
Yeah.
That would be my defense against your very well-made point of if he's the villain, why are we meeting him so late in the film?
Let's get into probably the best part of this movie. They need a ship to get this coaxium.
Well, I like there's a couple of lines I like before we get there. Before they get on the yacht,
sure.
Beckett says, for a bit of dramatic irony for us, the audience, do you have any idea what it's like to live with a price on your head? Which for me is a laugh line.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that moment because I know ultimately he will. Let's talk about the morality of Beckett real quick. Before they get on the yacht, after they blow the heist, and Beckett yells at him for being a coward. He calls him a coward.
Yep.
And Beckett has been giving a lot of advice at this point, honestly. Not a bunch, but for a guy they've just been in some... It's just interesting how father-like, especially around the fireplace he was. Just quick to give advice to this kid he's never met before.
Right.
Before they go on the yacht, he plays it like, hey, kid, you don't want to do this. Once you go up there and start this, you're going to be stuck in it forever. Was essentially his line. Why? Why would he... Like, again, and you don't need to tell me why. I think this gets into the crummy writing of it all. This gets into the idea that they were trying to make this guy Solo-esque.
Right.
Like, like, the guy seems like it was cool of him, for instance, to bring Solo along to the... Like, well, it was cool of him to land. Right. The little guy was like, we should land, Wookiee, and all that kind of stuff. But that guy, Beckett, ultimately made the decision. He pulled the lever.
Yep.
We're taking them. So we, the audience, go, he's not that bad. And then, again, with this moment of, you don't want to go up there, kid. Once you start there, and it's not a big moment at all. But, I mean, you write things in a script for a reason.
Right.
We're not seeing anything on accident.
Exactly.
And it makes me go... Well, they didn't know what the hell this guy wanted, what they wanted him to be.
Yeah, I
like
never
a moment
know
like
what
that,
his goals are.
But like a moment like that, either make it seem like, imply that he's manipulating Han, or don't do a moment like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Because he's already done the cool thing of like landing and bringing the kid aboard. Right. There's no point in having him go, like, I put to you, Vince, that's like a crappy way for the writer to go, oh, that yacht's dangerous. This guy's going, you don't want to go there, man.
Right.
And it's like, we don't need that.
But the entire lead up to that was him getting him involved
in this. And once we get to the yacht, we're going to see, like, one of the first things we see is that Dryden guy killing the Imperial governor. Like, if you know...
With a beautiful bit of foreshadowing, might I add. Using the double-bladed, laser knife.
Yeah. And then finally, before we get to the best part of the movie... Oh, no, not finally. Two more things.
Sure. Hit us up. So they get on the yacht.
No, just, Vince, you're a crime boss.
Yep.
Right?
Well, how did you find out?
It's those rings and that long trench coat you wear. Right?
Listen,
no one...
I'll take off the trench coat, but I will die before you take my rings.
Only crime lords wear cheetah trench coats. That's an impressive cheetah pelt trench coat. I'm
a crime lord.
You're a crime lord.
Yes.
Right? And you, okay, so I guess you want to seem impressive and that you live in the lap of luxury.
We're not going to talk about
Wibbly
this.
wobbly, crimey wimey? Yes, it was fine.
Because I'm a crime lord. Like a time
I got
lord.
it. Yeah.
I'm underappreciated.
No, let's pause and let everyone's laughing too hard. I can't make my point.
Thank you.
Let's wait for the laughter to die down. From your crime lord, wibbly wobbly.
I mean, why? It's very good. I'm very proud of that joke.
Hashtag. Oh no, we can't do that because that'll make it fuck.
Yeah, whatever.
Hashtag crime lord.
I'm a crime lord.
So, would you? And you, I guess you want to say to people you live in the lap of luxury. Mm-hmm. Like, how secure is that yacht? Me and you, that Dryden guy, he pissed us off. We're getting a couple of X-Wings. We flow by there real quick. It doesn't move fast. I don't know what the shield situation / gun situation. We cruise by there real quick, couple of photons right in the head of that thing.
So, you know the trope when a villain will have an underling who they have, like, tortured, like, have an underling shave their face?
Yes.
Like, it happens in James Bond. It happens in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of that. He knows that he's untouchable. If anybody even deigned to fly an X-Wing in the same atmosphere as Dryden Voss, they're already begging for trouble. Like, he's not worried about dying because if he dies, that's the end of him. If he doesn't die, it is the end of whoever that was.
We'll go faster. I promise my notes get way shorter after. Like, I promise. Like, after this, it's just little things. This is like a little Zach noticed this. This is the first time I ever noticed this. I wonder if you did. In the scene where he stabs the governor guy, he takes a drink from this handler woman who's got half a head.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yeah. All of the aliens in this, I think, are done very well.
That struck me as like a slave lady. They took her brain and like she's programmed to just like...
Exactly.
Whoa!
He got a job.
I just wrote half head lady. And then Beckett gives the old... He does this more than once in the movie. At this point, right before they've joined up with Kira, blah, 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 the coolest part in the movie is about to happen, Beckett gives the old trust no one.
Yep.
Now.
That line, by the way. So poor. So bad.
Okay. I wrote Paul Bettany is so evil. What do you think about his performance?
I loved his performance.
Me too.
He put me off in such a good villainous way.
I know this is hacky when people do things like this, but I have to say it. He was so, as a character, dismissive but engaging.
Yep.
The way he was like, I heard about Val, I'm sorry. And then the second Beckett's like, here's what happened, he just keeps walking.
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a power move.
Yeah, no,
like, it was
I'm not
wonderful.
actually interested.
Yeah.
I just need to keep up this facade.
Yeah. And I do it for me. It feels good for me to feel like I'm being a human being. Like,
exactly.
it was so evil.
I care about the peasants.
Yeah. It was, mwah.
Yeah.
I really, really loved his performance.
I also like that his facial markings would like deepen the angrier he got, and it's just like that's such beautiful world building.
Yeah,
that there's just this race, and that's a thing that happens, and it's perfectly understandable because my face gets red when I get mad. You know.
Oh, he was an alien?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Is that why he turns so white when he's dead?
I think.
Did you notice how pale his body was?
Yeah, he got very pale. I don't know if that was a choice or if that's just.
I thought he was a scarred up human.
Oh no, I thought that he was just an alien.
Can I vamp for a little?
Yeah,
Will you rock a wiki on this? Will you see if we can get to the bottom of this while we're on the pod?
Sure.
I'll vamp about the yacht real quick. And we're sorry, dear listeners. I know we're 50 minutes in, but I promise you we'll probably wrap up the end of this movie in 20. Chewie's double fisting it on the yacht, which I loved. I really loved Han's response to what should we drink to, and he said, let's drink to and see how the night goes. I'm going to use that if someone ever says what should we drink to.
His species is listed as near human.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you right. Yeah. You right, dog.
Dang.
Yeah. So Paul Bettany's so evil, blah, blah, blah. So we need a ship.
Yep. They after finishing their talk with Dryden...
Where Han talks in the meeting and he's not supposed to.
No.
I loved that.
Yeah, I agree.
And Beckett, there
were good parts
smiling and slapping him on the knee, like...
Oh, you're digging that hole, buddy.
And he's so full of hope, and, he's just a smiley puppy at this point. The
world hasn't crushed him.
It works for me.
Yeah.
It works for me. I don't, I keep saying we'll move on, but, at this point, everything that guy is doing is working for me. You've brought up a lot of things, and I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. Never thought about that before.
Right, but watching the movie, you didn't experience.
No, I've always had problems with the Beckett stuff that I brought up this evening. So, Donald fucking Glover.
Yes. So, after they tell Dryden that they lost the coaxium, but then they come up with a plan to get some unrefined coaxium, they come down to, we need a ship. So Kira knows a guy. We travel.
He's attractive.
And we travel and we see Donald Glover sitting at a sabacc table, just charming the pants off of everybody in sight. Man. Now, this does lead me to a question. How does sabacc work?
I don't know.
No, here's the thing. There's a difference between not knowing how a random game made for aliens works. I understand that. In sabacc, when Donald Glover wins in sabacc, he puts down 5 cards. And we learn later that he has a retractable card guy, like an Assassin's Creed knife.
I didn't realize we were going to talk about sabacc. I'm going to take out all my notes about droid politics. No, please keep going.
I just don't get it, because when Han plays his hand, there are only 4 cards.
I don't know.
But it's such an obvious thing. Just give Han an extra card in his hand. Make it like poker. I want to see
this is the
World
nerdiest thing I've
Championship
ever
of
seen you get
sabacc.
hung up on. And this is our podcast is called Dirty News.
Yeah. All right.
How are you sitting here going,
I
go bullshit on sabacc?
That's my thing. I don't get it. Obviously you can tell, hey, that dude has 5 cards in his hand. Yeah. I only have 4.
Yeah.
That means that he's cheating.
Well, I do have... You know what? We'll call back to that, because one of my last notes is about Han screaming after he wins. There you go, buddy. Fair and square. So we, the audience, know, I guess, Han won. You're right, dog. I guess maybe. But I don't want to have anyone... exposition explain to me how sabacc works.
Yeah.
No, I don't want anyone walking around the table going, sabacc is a game of both.
That's a fun YouTube clip. Hey.
But then it would have to happen in the film.
No. I'm saying, have the Star Wars YouTube channel just be like, hey, here's an instructional video on how sabacc works.
It's such a weird...
I want to know.
There's so much that you said about this movie that I'm like, no, you're right. know if you're right about this one, man.
Whatever.
This might be a
Moving on.
specific.
Moving on. We're talking
How
about
does the Bach work?
we're talking about droid politics.
No. Donald Glover is really cool. I wrote the way he says fantastic. I didn't know that Lando would say fantastic that way, but he did. And it was right.
And
he got
correct.
so much criticism for doing what people were calling an impression. And A, I don't know what else you would do. B, if he did something else, the criticism would have been he didn't seem at all like Lando.
Right.
And C, I don't know who watches that and doesn't go, this guy's crushing it.
Yeah.
He's the most compelling thing on screen.
100%.
Yeah, I now want to watch a Lando movie. I have so little, and it's not just because I love Donald Glover. I mean, or maybe it is, and maybe it's an Ouroboros Vince because I love Donald Glover because he's so good and so compelling and commits. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has to do it.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Anything he does.
Yeah. You want to talk about droid politics? Let's talk.
Not really. Let's talk about it when we get to that point, if it comes up naturally. I don't have that much to say about it. I wish my brother Adam was here. Mm-hmm. He was the one who first drew my attention to it, and then they had this scene in Solo that made the point my brother Adam was trying to make to me 3 years ago even more salient and valid. Because at the time I was trying to be like, well, no, the droids are there as a joke, and he's like, but then why does the movie go out of the way to tell us that they're sentient? Yeah. And Paula Tompkins often has the joke of, why does R2-D2 scream?
Why does he feel pain?
Yeah. But it's, but that's the thing is it's like, it is Star Wars and it's silly. So how much are you and I going to take the time right now to talk? But then I would argue, well, then why is the movie making me think about it?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I
guess that's all I have to say, what I just said.
Yeah, no, it's a weird thing for them to put in, and it's a weird thing for people to get hung up on. Yeah, but it's right there.
Is it also strange of me to say, Vince, I don't know if I'm woke or smart enough to have a enlightened opinion about what this thing that happens in this art might translate to in the real world?
The way I see it, we weren't given a Solo movie where the message is, hey, free the droids, slavery's bad. Mm-hmm. If we weren't given that, I'm not giving it any more thought than it needs. But
I would argue, and I would say, it was a weird thing to put in this film.
Yeah.
It
seems unnecessary.
Yeah, like, there are other cool motivations you could give this character. And now, I don't want to sound like I'm going, why'd you make me think about that tough thing, slavery?
Right.
I'm saying, you made me think about it, but you didn't have anything to say.
Right, exactly. You're just putting the topic out there and not coming back to it.
You just went, hey guys, slavery! And then walked out of the room.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's there, like, it helps L3's character when they get to the coaxium planet, because she leads the revolt or whatever.
Right, but
again, that doesn't have anything to do...
That to me is the biggest kind of sin of, like, her going, oh, I found my meaning in life. And because we've all seen other Star Wars movies where it's like, no, the droids are all still basically slaves.
Yeah.
Should we care? All of these things that I'm saying right now is the problem I have with it.
I agree.
And it's like, so just take a side.
Yeah.
Like, let's do a droid revolution movie or something.
Right.
And I know there are...
Have to be, yeah.
Like, not to nerd out, but I know, like, I will because it's my podcast. Like, C-3PO and R2-D2 clearly choose to be there.
Right.
I think.
They're active participants.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's my droid politics bit.
All right.
I kind of want to go back to talking about how cool Lando is. When when his ship is... booted. The Falcon's booted.
Yeah.
Like, he has, I don't want to say like a lot of lines there, but like it is such a good like snippet of that guy crushing at being Lando.
Right, yeah. Like, I like to lock it up because it gets, people get shady around these parts. Yeah. And you just see, oh no, they just impounded your spaceship.
That thing's been impounded.
Oh yeah.
He brought them there.
Of course. Yeah. 100%. That's why they cut through the gate instead of using the key like a normal.
It's the only reason he took the job.
Right. But yeah, I cannot say enough good things about Donald Glover in this movie.
And I think
so good.
Again, like not doing too much extra work for the script. Like he clearly sat down to play a game of Sabacc to pay whatever fine so he could get the Falcon out of there.
Yeah.
He won that game,
Right.
and then this job came along.
His story
now he can keep his earnings and also get out of there for free and make an extra 20%, just a quick milk run.
Exactly.
So what does L3 mean when she says it works on the Falcon?
Oh, L3's definitely banged a dude.
Okay.
I don't know if it was Lando.
All right, fine. You know what? This isn't that type of podcast I okay, it's fine. We're not doing that type of show.
This is Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't want to get into
curse too much.
Yeah,
but
L3's death that got me.
Okay. Before we get to L3's death, when they're getting ready for the job, another moment of dramatic irony of Beckett saying something to Solo that we, the audience, are like, Beckett. He goes, we have to do this tight. Do not improvise. He points at Solo. Also, this is important for the film. Beckett and Chewie are playing the chess.
The hologram chess.
And Beckett says to Chewie that people are predictable.
Yep, that comes back.
To anticipate how his opponent will think and think one step ahead.
Yep. And
then again, and Han goes and makes out with Kira. Beckett catches them, and one more time, Beckett says, "Trust no one; you won't be disappointed." Now, that time, it's a really pointed moment.
Yeah.
Earlier in the film, he does say, "Trust no one."
Yeah. When he first said that in the film, I instantly wrote down in my book, Beckett is going to betray Han.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's Indiana Jones taught us that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But don't you think it would have been a better movie if Kira actually betrayed Han and Beckett was trying to help him out the entire time?
Yes.
And Kira yanks Beckett.
And I also really think it would have been a better movie if Han had to have spent more time with Beckett.
Yeah.
We don't think about how much it helped.
No, not to roguish montage.
Well, yeah. Like in Django or something.
Yeah.
But we don't think about how much it sort of helped Star Wars along. That Luke wasn't meeting Obi-Wan. Luke had known him. He was the weird wizard.
Yeah, he's on the outskirts.
It would have made less sense if Obi-Wan just showed up and was like, "I knew your father. I know you've never met me before, and you maybe have heard of me." Like, it works better that
Your impression's spot on.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was taken away for a second.
You think Ewan McGregor walked into the room, folks? It was just me.
That wouldn't have been Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I was doing Alan Guinness.
Yeah.
That's how much I want Ewan McGregor. He's already Obi-Wan to me.
Yeah. Just give him the movie.
So,
it'll do better than Solo did.
L3's death. Heist was cool.
The heist was very cool. There were boring parts of the heist.
I
think that once the engine got rolling,
I liked the buddy moment of Chewie ripping the arms off.
Yeah.
And number one, that's a cool thing all of us Star Wars fans wanted to see.
Yep.
And number two, I love Han going, "Nice. The outfit that would fit me perfectly." Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It's such a great, Han is always nonplussed by what Chewie does.
Yep.
Later on in the heist, Chewie has to leave because he figures out that some of his tribe are there. Mm-hmm. And Han's like, "Go do your thing, man. You gotta do what you gotta do." And then later on, Han's about to get, he's got this big heavy cart with him, and he can't leave the cart, and he's about to get got by these two soldiers. Mm-hmm. And Chewie comes up and smacks one of the soldiers, and Han doesn't go "thanks" or anything like that. He goes, "Hey, buddy, there's one right there too."
Yep.
Nonplussed, and I love that about them. They're already.
I like their buddy cop.
Yeah, they're already ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Armor buff. The heist works. I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Heist. How much time are we gonna? It's a cool enough action sequence, right?
Wait, which one?
The heist. Including it's so rad when
let's talk about the Kessel Run.
Okay.
That's when you think of Han Solo, you think rogue, charming, Kessel Run, and this shows Han doing the Kessel Run in under 12, closer to 13 parsecs, but not if you round down.
Round down.
Yeah.
I'm with him on that.
Yeah. But I think this is the best, most gripping action scene in this movie. And it is, in my opinion, the best done.
When, I keep going back. I'm sorry. L3 gets shot.
Yep.
And Lando emotionally goes running out to her in a really cool action sequence. He jumps over two droids, something falls, ducks under it, and gets to her. Now, Solo has every reason to leave him there. He likes that ship.
Mm-hmm.
The coaxium's on the ship.
Yeah.
This is a character moment.
Yeah, you just got to get home.
Lando's running back to the ship, gets shot on the shoulder, and he's carrying the remains of L3. He's not even that mobile.
He's struggling with the remains now.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Han, shrugs. Damn, I got to take out the trash. Goes and gets him. That, to me, Vince, is a very important character moment.
Yeah, because it shows that Han will always come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the that's how you know.
Of everyone we've seen in this movie, he's the only one to show any kind of moral backbone. Mm-hmm. As much as he wouldn't. I really appreciate that moment. I wanted to point it out in the podcast. That
I appreciate it as well.
The movie didn't point at it enough, I feel like.
I don't necessarily know if it helps the introduction of Han in episode 4. Because, the whole issue, the big point of tension with Han leaving is not knowing that he's going to come back. But if you've watched them in the chronological order that you're supposed to now,
right?
Then you already know Han's the kind of guy who does come back.
Yeah,
I feel like it might have been better played if he just left.
That's a good point. If me and you were writing this,
you'd have to write an entirely differerent movie.
Yeah, if me and you were writing this, I would go to bat for him going to get Lando. But I agree, we would have written a different movie.
Right.
Sorry, I don't know. I wanted to bring up that moment in the heist because it was. I'd never really thought about it before watching it to do this podcast.
Yeah.
The Kessel Run, like you said.
Yeah. I'm
surprised you like that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm a big fan of Fast and the Furious, and this was just Fast and the Furious in space.
Yeah. It was dope.
Yeah.
I cried when Solo gets in the seat every time I see it, and they play that John Williams. My tears well up, and then Chewie getting in the seat with them, and then Chewbacca and Han Solo in the front seat of the Millennium Falcon, man,
just piloting away, flipping switches, pressing buttons, hitting levers,
dude, and they start playing the music from Empire from the asteroid field, and it makes me so happy. And I know they're just cashing into my nostalgia. I know they're not really doing that much work,
right?
But I kind of don't care. Just give me that sweet dopamine.
Exactly. Yeah. So the mall sequence is just really good. They need to do a daring escape. They go through an uncharted sector through a ion storm or whatever.
Really cool.
It is. Yeah.
CGI. It looks good.
Yeah.
They're not showing too much, which is kind of, I think, what makes it good.
Yeah, I agree.
You could barely really make out what the mall looks like other than, you see its mouth real well. Mm-hmm. Has a lot of eyes.
Well, the mall is the gravity pit.
Oh, excuse me. What do you call that thing, then?
It's just a monster.
Okay.
There's a point where Han asks, is that the maw? And Lando goes, no, that's a living thing.
I told you I didn't watch it for this watching because...
But after that, they arrive on this planet that refines unrefined coaxium that they plan on meeting up with Dryden at. They are stopped by Enfys Nest again, who reveals that she's a good guy.
Yeah, she's the victim of the crime syndicates. Her whole entire crew is. And some of those are people you'll recognize from Rogue One. Mm-hmm. Rowan, the short-statured actor who is... What's his name?
I couldn't tell you.
He was Wicket, and anyways, he was in Rogue One as one of... did you come here to kill me? Saul, Whitaker, whatever his name. He was one of those terrorists. And also the alien guy from Rogue One, who was also one of the Saul... I can't remember his last name.
Warwick Davis,
yeah. Yes. Warwick Davis is there. But anyways, they're remnants from... There's some Easter eggs there from Rogue One.
Yeah, definitely.
And for two of those guys at least. Mm-hmm. And they're marauders who were victims of the crime syndicate. And it turns out they're not bad guys after all. And there's also some business about the place where they landed was also... Everyone there was tortured by the Black Sun. What they're called?
Crimson Sun.
Excuse
me. Crimson, man. Like the lightsaber.
Yeah, these names. I mean, should we meat and bones that? Let's just say, it turns out Han's at a moral impasse.
Yeah. He wants to be the good guy.
Yeah.
Big damn heroes.
And he plays Beckett. He does exactly what Beckett tells Chewie he should do when Chewie's playing. he assumes that Beckett
is going to
turn on.
Because he's also watching this movie.
Han's playing poker. He's also watching this movie. Han's playing poker against him, and he's saying, "Let's get the coaxium of these people. Let's trick." And knowing. It's a switcheroo, guys.
It's an Ocean's 11.
Yeah, like, it's an Ocean's 11 switcheroo. It turns out the actual shit's there. Dryden sends most of his enforcers to the wrong place. There's empty cases there. Mm-hmm. The shit's actually in the room. The coaxium. I'll stop cursing. And a cool fight happens. You're right.
Yeah.
It'd be cooler if Kira had betrayed him.
Yeah.
And Beckett showed up last minute.
So this... Like, when you're watching Solo, it turns Han Solo from, like, this swashbuckling bachelor to, like, this kid who falls in love all the time.
Well, yes. Well, I think he was a kid who was... I think what they're trying to say is, like, well, no, this guy was always sort of a one-woman man kind of guy. He had this... Like, they were setting this up to be more movies. I don't know if there will be. Another Tower of Babel situation. But,
Not for Solo, at least.
You never know.
No.
I hope that's not true. I hope we see Lando.
You'll probably see a comic book.
I mean, I hope that's not true. But fuck, you threw me off.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. What were you about to say?
Kira goes over to the dark side.
Well, no. What do you mean?
Well, Han, after Dryden's taken care of, Han goes to catch up with Beckett, who has kidnapped Chewie.
Well, she was never not going to do that. She was never going to run away with him. She never presents that way.
What? She totally presents it. When they're kissing in the cape room?
That's her, like...
Also, shout out to Lando for having a cape room.
Yeah. God, that's her, like...
Beautiful motherfucker.
Squeezing in some moments when she can.
Yeah, but...
I would say that character never has any illusions about what she's doing or where she's going to end up. That's why I think she's kind of compelling. Like, they never play her as starry-eyed. It's Han who's starry-eyed.
Yeah.
She knows what's happening in the world.
When they met up in the yacht for the first time, you didn't think, like, oh, they're together.
No, she still seems very much in control, very poised. She has a couple of vulnerable moments with him, but like and this isn't just me being charmed by Emilia Clarke. I would say that she's playing it that way. I think, especially in the elevator, they straight up tell us, the audience, like when Han says we're gonna win, and she goes, "Not all games are like that. Sometimes it's just staying in the game."
Yep.
And he says, "You don't know everything," and she goes, "I don't think I do, just more than you." Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's her saying, like this thing that you think, like, there's another element to what we're about to be doing.
Right.
And that's like, I can't run away with you, dude.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
So, Han goes after Beckett and Chewie. Kira...
Like, do you think she thought she was going to walk in that room and not have to kill Dryden?
No. I knew that she was going to have to kill Dryden. I just thought that after that ended, with the way that the movie had given her character, like, have given us her character throughout the entirety of it, I expected at the end Kira to be, like, killed, probably?
I thought that, but then the way it ended, I was like, oh, clearly they want to do more movies, and this is going to be super tragic.
Yeah.
And the next movie, she's going to truly betray him for something. The other issue I had was, I mean, we revealed that Darth Maul's running the Crimson Sun, and the other issue I had was, you
can't get this name right.
I said Darth Maul.
You said Crimson Sun.
Oh, Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
The other thing that weird thing I have is, like, you can't ever have Darth Maul in the same room as Han Solo, ever. Because Han Solo... No, I know, but if you do another movie, it seems weird to introduce Darth Maul at the end of this movie like he's going to be a bad guy in the next movie.
If Solo did well, I think the next movie would have been the Kenobi movie, and he would have killed Darth Maul in that movie.
But why do that again? Like,
because
you did in Rebels.
Not everybody watch Rebels. I know it hurts you.
No, it doesn't hurt me that people don't watch Rebels. It hurts me that it's like, it breaks my brain. That breaks my nerd brain the way the Sabacc breaks yours. Yeah. That makes me go, but then which one happened?
Right.
If you're telling me that, okay. So, and then Solo ends.
Han shot first. Han catches up with Beckett. Han shot first.
It's my last note, folks. That was that rustling of paper.
So Han catches up with Beckett. Beckett starts waxing that he knows what's best or blah blah blah. He's just out here living, and Han shoots him.
Yeah.
Before he can turn on him again. And honestly, it's good. That's probably it's probably the most poignant moment of the movie.
Yeah, and it works on a couple of levels that you nerds, we won't talk down to you and explain.
Right. Yeah. Anybody listen to this?
You guys know why that works. Even if you don't like that movie, you could understand how conceptually it would be rad to end that movie with fucking Han shooting first.
Exactly.
And I would argue that from the Dryden death scene on, he's playing it different. He's playing a more reserved Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I feel that in the film. I see it in his performance. And I applaud it. It makes me enjoy the film more. Again, I feel like everyone's working really well. I have some problems with the script. And you pointed out some things to me that I'll probably always think about when I watch it from now on. That's okay, man. But you didn't talk me out of anything. I still really like this movie quite a bit.
I'm glad.
We probably talked about it for too long.
Yeah, my biggest issue with Solo is that it felt too referential to the point where it was being masturbatory, and it didn't really tell a compelling story.
I could not argue against that criticism. I bought a ticket knowing that I was buying nostalgia.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And if you
I think it's a more optimistic way to put that.
If you plan on going into it with that mindset, it is fantastic fun.
There was a lot of ways. We'll stop talking about Solo in a minute.
Yeah.
This is our podcast.
Exactly.
I'm going to stop apologizing for
exactly.
that. There were a lot of ways they could have screwed this up for me.
Oh, a ton.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to seem too starry-eyed. They, like... and also, not to sound like a crack addict, but, like, they did enough for me. I got high.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I got my, like, you know...
got your kick.
Yeah, I got my kick. But, like, I also, when it first... You know, when you first heard about it, were you excited?
Solo?
Yeah.
No.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It's the
Didn't think it was something that I needed.
In our pilot that you people will never hear,
Yep.
Vince pitched a Boba Fett movie, and I was saying to Vince what I said about the Solo movie is, do we need that? Like, you know.
Yeah.
And that was my initial reaction to Solo. Like, I say that to give you context as a man who likes this movie. I was going into it like, this is probably not going to be good. And I walked out of it like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, like, the original story of Han and Chewie meeting is that Chewie's enslaved and Han saves him, and that's how he
a life debt.
Leaves the Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that's not a life debt anymore.
I don't.
I love that Chewie's like, I like hanging out with you, man.
I
like that it's not like this cultural...
I think it gives Chewie's character more depth. Like, if he does have this life debt. Like, he starts off, he doesn't want to be there, but he's culturally obliged to. But then over the course of the movies that we see, he grows to love Han.
Yeah.
I think that's more compelling than just, oh, yeah, no, I'd like to
I disagree.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's more compelling that he has agency.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
I think I know you're right. There's just something about, like, well, it's his culture. He's choosing to, that's a form of agency. But it doesn't feel as much, not to be Riker. It doesn't mean anything to you. So that's Solo.
Yeah,
folks. Yeah. That was our takeaways.
We prattled on about Solo.
I did no tricks.
Well, do you want to do nerdy things?
Oh, yeah. Mine will be short.
Sure.
Yeah.
What'd you
do? Young Justice. Ooh, nope. The first thing I did was... You go first.
Okay.
Cut that.
All right. Nerdy things we did this week. I watched Young Justice for my homework. Played a bit of D&D. Been getting really into a video game called Brawlhalla.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm already on board.
Yeah.
What's Brawlhalla? Hold on.
It's essentially Super Smash Brothers for the Xbox.
Cool.
Yeah. It's free to play, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
A very fun way to spend an afternoon. I've been uploading all of our stuff to Podbean now, where it is available. So we'll have tandem uploads. I've been checking out a couple of movie trailers for something that'll be coming a little bit later, dear listener.
Look for it down the pipeline.
Yeah.
Listener singular.
And I think that was about it.
I watched... No, I haven't been reading much, actually, lately.
I've been reading a ton.
I'm so busy. What have you been reading?
I just remembered that I have Comixology Unlimited. So I've been reading a ton of stuff on there. The Immortal Hulk
Oh yeah, that's a good series.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've read that before.
Black Hammer.
Oh, I haven't read that.
Black Hammer is very good. Skull Kickers, the Astounding Wolfman. I've also read a G.I. Joe Street Fighter comic.
I'd be into that. Sign me up.
Yeah. So I've definitely fallen back into my love of comic books.
See, I was rereading Half-Blood Prince, but I kind of fell off of that. I've mostly been... I would qualify this under my nerdy stuff. I've been watching a lot of West Wing clips on YouTube.
Right.
It is porn for Democrats.
Yes, it is.
And so when you're feeling really down because there's been a really long government shutdown, just check in with the old friends at West Wing where they're piping along and making great choices. So watching a lot of West Wing clips. And Young Justice ended. Oh, Star Wars or Star Trek. The second episode of Star Trek came out last week. It was a very typical episode of Star Trek. I don't know. I'm feeling iffy about this season. They're doing stuff like this season. The motif is clearly faith versus logic, and that can be a little tired.
Yeah.
And they're kind of beating us over the head with it in the second episode. So I'm hoping the third episode's like a little bit more fun. Not that Star Trek's famous for its fun, but that seems to be where they were leaning. I'm hoping they don't overcorrect. Yeah. It feels like a lot of overcorrecting is happening over there. Excuse me. And Young Justice sort of ended. Like they hit their mid-season thing. So I watched that a lot. Like the last 3 episodes I watched like 3 times or so. Like between at work and stuff. I'm not just sitting around folks constantly just rewatching things. This happens slowly while I'm supposed to be doing my job. So that being said, you caught up on Young Justice.
Yes.
Dear listeners, we won't go on to this for too long.
This isn't going to be a deep dive.
I'm not gonna do favorite moments or anything. No. I have some notes in the works, but I'm gonna save them for when we do it. What are you liking it? Underwhelmed?
Yes.
You whelmed?
No, I'm definitely whelmed.
Yeah. Slow start though, right?
It did have a slow burn, and I definitely see where you and JoJo were talking about the chorization.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a lot of things were happening all at once. But I felt by the end it definitely wrapped stuff up nicely.
It got there. Yeah. I wish end of mid-season kind of feelings are I really do want to spend more time with I like these new characters, I really do.
Yeah.
But let's go back to some of these other guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just the OGs. We got to spend a lot of time with the core crew. I really thought about it, on reflection. Mm-hmm. The kind of most of the original, other than Aqualad, we saw a lot of their lives.
Yeah. And it's nice seeing them as adults. Them blossoming into adulthood.
Let's see these second season guys. Let's see some more Blue Beetle and Impulse and this Wonder Woman.
I do like that Impulse keeps calling Iris's baby his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop calling him dad.
Sorry, Grandma.
Stop calling Grandma.
That episode when they showed John Kent.
Yep.
And so John Kent and Damian Wayne are now existing in the Young Justice verse. That. I was in the Poconos when that episode came out, and JoJo and I were watching it separately. Mm-hmm. And JoJo in a different room went, "What?" And then 5 minutes later, because I was a little bit behind him, I was like, "Oh, what?" But whelmed, but ready to go back to I want to spend more time with Tim and the guys we didn't spend enough time with in the second season.
Yeah,
which was what my brother brought up, which I couldn't agree with more.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. Anything I can do to get more Tim Drake in my life, I'm down for.
Yeah, and especially because of the implication of Jason Todd and all that kind of stuff. I'd love a flashback episode.
Yeah,
and a weird one where it's maybe some people we haven't seen. You know how Donna Troy was in it?
Yeah.
They're saying that she was on the team in some of the 5-year gaps that we never saw.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
that's neat.
Well, it's cool that you liked it. I was worried that you were going to be like, you know what, buddy? It's starting to lose its luster.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel almost the exact opposite.
Me too. I was on board. I also really liked, I don't want to get too far, but the Enforcer crew.
Yep.
I love Devastation. I love that she's with Simon.
Yeah.
I want more of that.
Yeah, I liked the
I
Harper episode.
Which one?
The Harper family episode with the security.
I knew you were gonna love that.
Yeah, it was so nice.
That when we recorded, that was when we
It's nice seeing Arsenal not be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like all of them were so charming, and that whole episode like was so much fun, and I love that. Like I knew you were gonna love that one. When we recorded our first one back from hiatus, that was what it dropped the Friday before.
Okay, yeah,
and that's what it was. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that episode so bad because I knew that I was like, this is the episode that Vince is gonna be like, okay, Young Justice, I see you.
It's so nice, and they have that hero shot at the end, and it's great.
Yeah. And the Doom Patrol thing.
Yeah,
that was weird, right?
Thing. Yeah, it was weird.
How do you feel about that recasting of that voice actor? It's a different voice actor.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I guess I'm in the same camp.
Yeah, like
it seems bizarre.
It's bizarre. It's definitely weird, but it's not off-putting.
Perfect way to put it. And then next week, folks, you'll have to listen to 15 minutes of us talking about the podcast. Not that I neglected to listen to, that I tried to listen to as close to this as I could. Because podcasts are harder to talk about than film. Yeah. But I wanted to have some salient points. Mm-hmm. So next week, dear listeners, we're going to talk about film reroll, the Friday the 13th episodes, and maybe some other ones so that we could kind of dig into the form of that podcast and see what my buddy Vince thinks I would like about it.
Yeah.
And that was the show. That was the solo episode.
That was.
With two guys.
Duo episode. But we will end the episode, as we do, with our traditional robot noises. Beep boop, boop beep boop beep. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
What is love? Why do I hurt? Teach me how to be. Excelsior.